And now we're inside the Alpine on a very hot evening. And I don't know how hot it is, but it's 95 outside, so it's probably a tad bit more in here. But we're home right now, not out on the road. But I want to show you how well the Alpine, I think, has held up in 8 years of use. And looking at the back, the original OEM TV, soundbar, original fireplace. The only issue that I've had per se with this glass, I've showed you in a previous video, and we'll just show you again. And you can see that I have resealed this because you no longer see that bead of sealant that the factory put in. But that's something you want to check, is those glass panes. Make sure that they're not loose. And we'll go around looking at the right rear side of the fifth wheel. We still have the original OEM rockers, and the material on the rockers has held up perfect. The original MCD blinds, the original chairs and tables. We only carry 2 chairs since it's just the wife and I, but no issues with those. And we'll take a look towards the front, and we're looking at the front area. No issues with the cabinets other than the glass that I've previously mentioned. We're still running the original Whirlpool convection microwave that came with the unit, and after 8 years of use, knock on wood, it's been fine for us. And you're looking now at the original OEM Dometic RM1350 refrige, and it has been an outstanding refrigerator, and we've had 0 issues with it. And the freezer section, everything works. It cools in 100-degree to weather. I will see the temperature on this at about 36 degrees. And that's even with the sun shining direct. The highest I've ever seen this temperature gauge was down in Las Vegas. It was 115 degrees. The sun was shining directly on the refrigerator side, and I saw 40 degrees, and that was only for a couple hours while the sun was directly on that side. Once the sun got overhead where it was hitting the top of the fifth wheel, the temperature dropped back down to about 36 degrees, and in the evenings the temperature will drop down to 34 to 35 degrees. And we're looking at the original OEM sleeper bed that came with this. No issues with it. And yes, at the time these Alpines were made, they've had carpet, and we have 2 65-pound chows that have been in this since the day we bought it, off and on our trips. You can see the carpet looks as good as the day that it was put in. And we're looking at the original OEM stove and oven. We've never had any problems with that, and we don't cook a lot inside the Alpine. It's just our personal preference. We prefer to cook outside, but the wife has used the oven a few times, and we have used the burners a few times on rainy days. But I like to cook my bacon and eggs outside and keep the grease outside. The only issue that we've had with the kitchen island, and we had this issue back in 2016, was the original OEM faucet was a piece of junk, and we replaced it with a nice Moen faucet and sprayer, and residential style. Haven't had any issues with that since then. And we'll take you up the steps, and yeah, you can hear the steps creak a little bit, but you know, I weigh 196 pounds, so I guess maybe that's a little bit too much. And vacuum cleaners, yes, this Alpine came with a built-in vacuum cleaner. It's actually very good. It's a Dirt Devil unit, but when you hook that hose up and start dragging things around, it just got to be a pain. So we bought one of these Sharks. It's a cord unit, not cordless, but this Shark unit works very nice, particularly with these carpeted floors that we have in the bedroom and in the living room area. does a nice job. So if you're looking for a good vacuum cleaner, on a side note that has nothing to do about the Alpine, the Shark, it makes a nice unit. The closet, OEM, the mirrors, knock on wood, everything is held up well. And the bed and everything is held up well. And the infamous sliding door. Probably the most useless thing that Keystone put on this was this stupid plastic strap. And I've kept it on here. We still use it. But when we travel, to keep this door from flying off, we always travel with the door closed. And then I take a couple of these extra large pillows that I have laying up here, and I lay them down on the floor in between the door and this, and it holds the door in place. And I also, in this space down here in between the bed, I stuff a pillow down here. That way the door cannot wobble this way, and it cannot move back and forth. And I've never had it come off the tracks, except the very first time we towed it, and it came off the tracks. Original OEM bathroom. We have these things laid on the floor right now because that's how we travel. We put everything on the floor, including the faucet sprayer. That'll be put on the floor if we travel. The lock back here does an okay job, but when we travel, right here in between the glass and this front rail, we put a couple pool noodles. That way this glass, if this hook was to come loose like so, and you're driving down the road and you hit the brakes or you hit a bump, if this door slams forward and hits that, I guarantee you that when you open your fifth wheel up and go into your bathroom area, you are not going to be happy, because you're going to be looking at glass shattered everywhere. So if you're not doing that, it's something you should do. Original bathroom fixtures still. Haven't had any problem with them. When I do, I'll replace it with a residential faucet. And the OEM Dometic toilet. And yeah, I'm not afraid to open the toilet up. It's nice and clean. We're sitting parked at home, and the black tank is empty, but we always keep a couple inches of water in it. Keeps that seal lubricated. And this was done, I don't know, a week and a half ago or so, when we cleaned the fifth wheel up when we got home. The seal is still holding water and keeping it lubricated. And it's been a good toilet. I haven't had any issues. There is one area of concern. We'll go out the bathroom door. One area of concern on these toilets, and we're looking at it right now, is this valve assembly right here. When you winterize your fifth wheel, either blow the air lines out or run antifreeze through, and make sure that you do this toilet. Either have the wife as a helper stand on the lever while you're blowing it out until you see nothing but air coming out in the toilet, or stand on this pedal and do the same thing until you get pink antifreeze. If you fail to do that, I guarantee you this plastic valve that slides up inside where my finger's pointed, it's going to crack. And the first time you turn water on, you're either going to have a leak right there immediately, or probably what's going to happen is you're going to get out on the road and hook up and discover you have a water leak and no RV store around to fix it. And if you incur that problem when you're out on the road and there's no RV store, if you don't have a shutoff valve, which I don't have one yet on this toilet, but I have a Shark Bite shutoff valve that I'm going to put in line with that. What you can do if you have a valve installed there is simply turn the valve off, and then you'll just be without a toilet until you can get that repaired. So that's another area of concern. We've not had a problem. That's the original OEM valve, been in there for 8 years. It's been a good toilet. It's done its purpose. No leaks, knock on wood, and that just kind of gives you an idea of how well we think that this Alpine, after 8 years, has held up, both cosmetically and mechanically. And we'll walk backwards off of here, and hopefully we won't do a 1.5 gainer off the backside. I'm getting too old to do stuff like that, but it's been a good unit, and The original CCC2 Dometic thermostat has worked great. I've had no issues with that, and no issues with the accordion blinds. They're famous. These strings will break, and when they do, you can repair that and rethread it. There's some videos out there that will show you how to do that. Or you could put a roll-up blind in there if you wanted to. One thing on these MCD blinds, I don't know what the new Alpines have in them, but on the MCD series blinds that this 2014 has, when we travel, all the blinds go all the way up. If you don't travel with the blinds all the way up, then what's going to happen as you're driving down the road, this blind is going to be doing this all the time. And all the time it's doing that, it's working. What you can't see up inside is a plastic wheel with 3 tabs on it, and that's the brake mechanism that